If somebody had told you the Kansas City Chiefs would play pretty poorly in their first 3 games and end up 3-0, would you have also believed them? Well, they have done so. They didn't play particularly well on the offensive side of the ball yet again. Patrick Mahomes has a 3-0 record. But did they win despite him and the way that the offense is playing? Because would you say that they got lucky in this one, Peter?
So what I mean by that is that the Chiefs are winning in spite of them not performing well. They're grinding as a team to string these wins together early in the season because sooner or later they're going to gel at some point in the season. Now, the way they've won the last 3 games is in football terms across the pond, and our football teams call it winning ugly, which is what they're doing right now, which is about maintaining.
No matter how you do it, you get over the line, right?
Exactly, get over the line. So
now,
that's what they're currently doing at the moment.
So if you look at it, right, so they were fortunate to beat the Bengals.
Yep.
Because of, well, it was a correct call at the end, but they got one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And normally, it was controversial. It's made more controversial by the fact that they got the call again at the end.
Yep.
In this game, because clear defensive passing interference, and yes, the next drive that the Falcons had did have some debatable calls.
Yep.
But none of those calls would have resulted in the ball being 1st and goal on the 1 yard line.
No.
So that's how they don't quite even up. And if you look at the week 1, they were a toe length away from losing that one. So fine margins, they've been on the better side of those fine margins. And you look at, well, they've got a very big game, obviously, next week when they play the Chargers in LA.
Yep.
And one thing, if you look at the Chiefs, that offense pretty much from a passing perspective runs through Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice had himself a game. He was pretty damn good. He seems to be Mr. Reliable in the passing game for them because, 12 catches on 14 targets, 110 yards and a touchdown. Kelsey's pretty much anonymous. They throw to Noah Gray and Justin Watson pretty much, those two as well, in the similar quantities, for those two combined, as they do with Travis.
I think when you play the Chiefs, you basically got to work out what you want to try and eliminate, and I think they put their resource there. Say, all right, cool. Well, we're going to remove Kelsey. We're going to take that away from the offense, and then we're going to see what they can do. Obviously, Rashee Rice is there. He's a thing, and I think that made like a big difference. I think they were like with their starting tailback out. They weren't sure what they were going to get on the ground, and I think they were able to move it on the ground as well, and that kind of helped sort of balance things out a little bit. I think if they were only going through Rice, then it may have been a harder game, and that might have been the tipping factor here. But they were able to stay like somewhat balanced, I'd say. But yeah, like I think if you play Kansas City, you have to pick what you're going to try and take away.
Carson still had the start in this game, but well-known fact, it was his sister's wedding on the day. Obviously, she couldn't move the wedding or anything like that. So they had a big screen up in the wedding of everybody, literally the entire wedding party. As soon as Carson got handed off the ball, the entire wedding party was going absolutely mad. It's a very peculiar one, but the thing is, he's an undrafted rookie, so when the wedding invites would have gone out a year before, they didn't know if he was going to be playing in the NFL.
Playing in the NFL, but imagine being the dad and being like, daughter's wedding, son's starting the NFL, and you're like, damn, what am I going to watch? Obviously, you're there for your little girl, but it's really cool to see that moment as well. Like they had it all on like the jumbotron. They had like 6 TVs linked up, and everyone was watching it, which was really good. It's definitely going to be one you tell the family later on. But I'm happy for him. 17 carries, 72 yards.
72 yards. He was solid, because if you look at it, the longest run of the entire thing was 9 yards. So it was a lot of just hard-earned rushes. Now, if you look at the other side of the ball, Atlanta, Kirk was reasonable in this one. They weren't that efficient on the ground if you look at it, because Bijan had 16 carries for 31 yards. Tyler Algier had 7 carries for 32 yards. So if you look at 23 carries for 60 yards, it's a bit of a slog, right? But you don't expect to run the ball on the Chiefs well. And then it looks like Kirk and Darnell Mooney have got themselves a really good combination. It's funny how Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields couldn't get that connection together over in Chicago, and they both seem to be doing all right in their new places. So sometimes it's just about the place and the combination that you have with the quarterback wide receiver combination that you have. In this one, a really good. I would say it's a good showing from Kyle Pitts in the sense that he made an impact in this one, because he had that big 50-yard catch, and Drake London seems to be kind of turning towards there. Drake's got that.
It's a contract year for
Pitts.
him. Yep.
So he's got he was supposed to be one of the best tight ends to potentially grace the league, right?
Yep.
And at the moment, because of how the quarterback situation's been in Atlanta, they haven't. His development within the league hasn't been as proficient. But the thing is, if Atlanta vary where they line him up,
yeah,
then they'll be able to get him open more.
Yeah, I mean, once you get a signal caller in there, like, I think this is kind of like my same argument with Carolina, but what it allows you to do is you can evaluate the players that you have, like, especially going into like a contract year for both Pitts and London. You kind of want to know exactly what these guys are capable of, and you're kind of seeing it. Drake London is showing that he can play at a high level. Whether or not, I mean, he's going to be their number one, but whether or not he's a true number one in the league, that's what we're going to have to work out.
Pitts is in year 3. No, Pitts. London's in year 3.
Yeah. He's going to try and get his contract early, like they always do.
Yeah.
He's not going to
not contract year, but he's going to try.
But he's basically going to see, like, hey, if you can, pay me early. But I don't think he's the kind of guy that has the cachet to hold out. I don't think he has that kind of leverage.
Well, he needs to.
If he pulls out this season, and he plays really, really well, like if he puts up like top 10 numbers for his position, maybe even like if he can get into like the top 8 for his position.
But so when we look at in this season so far, he's had 15 yards in the first game because they didn't really target him. Yeah. 54 yards, 67 yards. So he's going in the right direction.
Going the right, yeah.
But the thing is, the Falcons is a very balanced offense.
Yep.
So you might, and especially where they're trying to spread it out a little bit as well, so it may not be fully targeted towards him, but he seems to be on the up and up when it comes to their play. But yeah, going back to the original point, Chiefs were they grinded out the victory, tad fortunate, but they did what they need to do to get over the line. So let's just see what the future. Well, we expect them to win the division, but it's more of just they need to start playing well on the offensive side of the ball properly, because they can't just keep grinding it out every single week. They need to get good, but I think I wouldn't be worried if I was a Chiefs fan, in my opinion.
Chiefs just literally seem to be like the team of destiny. It's almost like, of course they're 10-2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of those things.